In the past year, I've been slowly turning this hobby-grade CNC into a furniture-making workstation. The type of furniture I like to make are chairs, and this has been extremely helpful to me in my chair making. As I've covered in previous videos, I have three main areas. One is a flat area, like a normal CNC area. I have a vertical clamping area, which functions for joinery and vertical operations. And I also have a lathe area where I can do lathe duplication, legs, spindles, you name it. Today, I'm gonna break down a little bit of the process about making a carved armrest. This is sort of a mid-century Danish style armrest, a very classic shape. It's a continuous bent armrest with some very tricky carved elements. And I'm gonna show you how I use the CNC to achieve some of it. This little bit right here was actually one of the main instigators for me using a CNC. I just couldn't figure out how to do it by hand. I was finally able to 3D model it and achieve my dream for doing this on the CNC. So keep watching and I'll break down the process for how I've created this element. To be quite honest, my main intention with this video is simply if you're having trouble wrapping your head around some crazy organic sculptural form, really just try and break it down to the most simplest blocks and square shapes you can. Think about how the carved elements are going to flow through that shape. Every complex sculptural piece that you see online or see in real life has all been broken down that way, and it's just a great way to start thinking about it. I really want to help enable you to do that, to start thinking about it and to meet that challenge. And again, I think the CNC could be a really interesting, fun, exciting, and very helpful and repeatable way to do that. First of all, let's look at the basic plan behind the three pieces that come together to form this backrest. It all starts as a top-down elevation drawing in Adobe Illustrator. The drawing is at full scale, so I can simply pull out the vector shapes afterwards as needed. I mapped out the shapes and where the joint would be located. The curved backrest is a steam bent component. The carved armrest is a 3D carving. I have a lot of trouble understanding 3D CAD programs, so I actually used the simplest free program I could find, Tinkercad. I think it's made for kids, like Tinker Toy. Before that, I used Blender to create a basic form from a depth map, but eventually ended up in Tinkercad to make the final STL file that I would use to create the 3D carving. After creating the .stl, I brought that into easel to make the G-code. So the basic plan here is to carve the 3D shape in two passes, one from the top and one pass from the bottom. It's a big advantage that the 3D shape is set inside a squared block of wood, as later I use that overall square shape for a number of different processes before I finally cut it away in the end. Prep. Here's some footage of the steam bent component being bent. Before I bend it, I soak the piece in water and fabric softener for about a week. After steaming for 1 hour, I bend it onto a form and then let it dry on another form for about a week. After confirming that the bent piece is dry with a moisture meter, I take it off the drying form. Here's a mock-up of how the two pieces will fit. I'm using a test armrest that I did previously, which has already been separated from its block. I proceed to carve the armrest into the block. I'll do a more detailed video on this in the future, but basically it's a two-sided carve, top and bottom. Now we can see the carved armrest set inside its block. It's been carefully carved so that only a few tabs and a very thin middle section remain. Here, I'm cutting the top of the armrest block so the CNC can have access to the top of the shape. To join the armrest to the backrest, I'm using a 3/8 inch deep finger joint. This is one of the strongest joints in woodworking, and for this application it absolutely needs to be. The backrest could be taking almost 100 pounds of pressure at any given time, and it needs to be incredibly strong. I'm going to mark the center of the top of the armrest. Next, I'll mount the steam-bent backrest piece to a table saw jig. The jig holds it in a position that basically imitates as if it was set inside another big block. I'll slide this entire jig through the table saw and cut down to the plane that will end up being the top of the finger joint. Before we get into the CNC part, let's take a moment to think about this as simply as possible. In the most basic sense, we're just putting together two squared blocks with a finger joint. The shapes and the processes to get those shapes may sound a little complex at first, but they're really just big square blocks that happen to have shapes carved in them. CNC. To create the finger joints, I'm going to use the vertical clamping area that I've set up on my LongMill MK3. Let's take a look at what the G-code for the finger joints looks like. Basically, I just drew lines in Illustrator, spacing them exactly 1/4 of an inch apart. When I cut those lines with a 1/8 inch bit, I'll have a perfect staggered finger joint. Again, this joint is only 3/8 of an inch deep. Even at this low depth, just the sheer glue area of a finger joint provides enormous strength. First, I'm going to clamp the armrest onto the vertical area. Banggood sent me some upgraded clamps by Enjoy Wood, which are perfect for this large block shape. Then, I bring a 1/8 bit over and center it within the center mark I drew previously. Both the A and B sides of this joint are fixated around the center of where I want the joint to be. Once I have my origin point zeroed, I actually begin with a surfacing pass, only 1/32 of an inch, just in case there were any variations in my cut. This way I can be assured that both A and B sides of the joint will match precisely depth-wise. Then I proceed to cut the fingers. I'm cutting a much wider finger than I need, just to be sure it completely covers the area I do want to cut. Next, for the backrest side of the joint, I'm going to mount the holder I previously used on the table saw. This is one of the advantages of the wide cutting area of the LongMill, as I can mount the entire 23-inch backrest without it hanging off the side or any other awkward process that might introduce an unknown element into the cut. I proceed to center the bit, create the origin for the cut, surface, and then cut the fingers. At the bandsaw, I cut away a little around the sides of the armrest, just so I could see how the joint is fitting a bit better. At the workbench, I test fit the joint. Then I'll do a test clamping, just to make sure I'm comfortable with where the pressure is being placed. It's important to create pressure along the exact center line of the joint, otherwise the clamps can tweak the joint sideways a little. Finally, onto glue. I simply dump glue onto both sides of the joint and use a brush to work it into the fingers. I join the two pieces and clamp based on where the clamps were in my dry fit. There's a lot of squeeze out, but that's very good. I want this joint as swollen and as much glue in it as possible. I can finally cut away the block surrounding the armrest, as the block has served its purpose. The part holding the armrest in is actually paper thin, so I can use a small saw and a utility blade. After that, I move on to an all hand tool stage, slowly refining the final shape. Okay, so let's just quickly go through everything that would happen after you make the joint. This is carved by the CNC, joining it to this. This is a collection of some of the tools I might use, like a spoke shave. This is a very nice rasp, chisel, various files, card scraper, of course, sandpaper, and some sort of power sanding, like this Milwaukee with the soft pad for curves. The main thing that's going to happen is I want to start shaping the backrest part. This is mostly shaped. I'm going to take a bandsaw and first I draw a line here. It'll be sort of a curve that continues this upwards, and I'll cut that on the bandsaw. And then I have to actually gouge out this whole area to relieve that. I do it at about a 12-degree angle to provide good comfort, because it's mounted like this and you need some sort of lean back. Those are two fairly demanding cuts. And then it's just a ton of sanding and filing and refining. There's really no way around how much work this is. It's a lot, man. I've honestly tried this many different ways. I've done it completely by hand. I've used belt sanders to shape it, only spoke shape. I've done it many different ways. And I just really like the integration of the CNC for the parts that I know are absolutely going to have to be perfect. Now is actually a good time to take a little side mission. We're going to go to Denmark and we're going to look at how generally the same type of backrest is made in an industrial setting. This is the PP Mobler factory. What they do is actually attack it in 3 pieces. First, use an asymmetrical duplicating machine to create the main shapes. They mount it on a very expensive 5-axis CNC to cut the fingers, and then it's joined together, and then it's mounted on the 5-axis CNC again to do the final shaping. And then after all that, it goes to a hand shaping phase. I just want to remind you one more time that I'm actually an affiliate. If you use the affiliate link in the description, I actually get a small commission that helps keep this channel going. Make sure to mention me in the after survey too, if you actually do. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart if you do mention me. One announcement to make. This is the LongMill Mark II. The LongMill Mark III is coming out this year, and it is an incredible upgrade. I'm going to show you some images for it right now. There are many improvements on this, but the main thing is that they switched over to linear guides for the whole thing, which imitates more of the performance of like an Avid CNC or very expensive CNC. These guys are geniuses. They're using closed loop steppers. There's just many rigidity improvements that help increase the speed and power and accuracy of the machine. So that's something you're gonna wanna track in the future. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. This content was helpful. Please consider subscribing to the channel.